So we'll read the roll.
Recording in progress.
Just read the roll call part then, in this case.
Open the meeting and then say.
All right. So I'm opening the meeting, but we are short, so we're going to take a 15-minute recess. Stay tuned to this channel for more updates. Okay, good. All right.
Councillor Sullivan's just got to put his camera back on and we should be good. Unless we lost him. There he is. Okay.
Still recording? All right, so do the roll call and then welcome or welcome then the roll call?
The roll call has been taken.
All right, so first of all, before we start anything, I'd like to welcome Councillor Mandy Samwell to the group. Mandy, would you like to say?
Sure. I guess what I'd like to say is that I'm happy to be on the ASPAC committee. I feel like there's a lot of great things that can happen around this table, and I'm looking forward to being part of the group. Thank you.
All right. All right, so are there any declarations of conflict of interest for any of the items listed below in the agenda? No. There are no presentations on the agenda today. There's one item for consideration on the agenda, and that is the 2025 schedule of reports, the financial impact. None of 2024-634. I'll ask staff now to give a brief overview of the report.
Oh, can't hear you.
Through the chair, sorry.
Sorry.
Thank you. Gagan Batra, Manager of Business Support and Sustainability with the city, and I have Rebecca Shepanowski as well, who's our Climate Change Officer. So I can open it up and give a little bit of context, and I'll leave it to Rebecca to go through the rest. But this report is something that the committee had asked us to bring forward for the group for consideration. It is a list of reports that are scheduled to come in 2025, as well as the schedule that we've outlined here. The committee will recall that there was a mandate review conducted just a couple of months ago. And within that, there were a couple of adjustments made. So we've attached that updated mandate as well to the report. And the reports that are listed are those that fall within the purview of the committee. So if there are any questions, we would be happy to take them. And it's outlined in the report, but if there are any additional reports that the committee would like us to bring in those months that there's nothing scheduled, of course, we would be happy to take that into consideration and look with whether it's in the mandate or not, and bring that forward. So I will leave it to Rebecca to just go through the items, and then if there's any questions, we'd be happy to answer them.
Thank you, Gagan. So through the chair, so the main regular reports that we have planned for the coming year is the Green ER Awards promotional campaign. We'll be bringing a report about that in February, just to get the committee's opinions on how we should then promote the Green ER Awards for 2025. And then we also have planned to bring an invasive species management plan to ASPAC in February, just to gain feedback on the draft that is being developed. In April, we'll be bringing the 2025 Climate Action Implementation Plan report, the Green ER Awards nomination review, and we'll also go over the SPAC's budget for the year. And then back in December, again, at the end of the year, we'll bring the 2025 Climate Action Plan annual update, where we will go over all of the action items that have been completed throughout the year. And currently, there are no reports that are planned for June, August, or October.
Yeah, just thanks, Rebecca. Just reiterating that the ones that are currently planned are regular ones that we would bring typically on an annual basis based on the schedule we've done in the past. But again, we're happy to take any suggestions for additional reports that the committee may want us to consider at this time. Thank you.
We gotta give it a look in a second.
All right. So mover and seconder. Second. Okay.
All right, Matt, go ahead with the question. All right, thank you, and through you, Mr. Chair. One question, could staff elaborate on how people would go about how this committee would go about requesting reports?
Through the chair, thank you to you, Councillor Samuel. I'm gonna leave the nitty-gritty details of that process to clerks to explain, but we talked about it at the last meeting. If the committee would like to for something to be brought forward, they can request it through the chair, and then the chair can reach out to staff to consider bringing that report forward, or if there's a report that they would like to be brought forward to the committee, they can bring it to staff and we would just prepare that report. So there's an item on the agenda for it in the typical way that we would, and they can go through that process, or they could do it through a notice of motion. However, the notice of motion process is typically longer. So I would suggest going through the chair to request a report rather than the notice of motion process. But Kristen, maybe if I forgot anything in the process, you can elaborate.
No, I would say that's the best course of action, as well as just for the chair, you guys to put your suggestions to the chair. The chair will work with staff. It's just going to be a quicker process than bringing a nom and then a resolution, and it's just with the meeting schedule of this type, it doesn't move fast.
Perfect, thank you. Yeah, obviously, thank you for your indulgence in my newness here. So basically, anything that's within the purview of this committee, we could ask for reports on then, right? As long as it's within the mandate.
Yes, through the chair.
Okay,
Yes.
thank you very much.
Yeah, I did have one question. As far as the SPAC budget in April, I guess it's a double-sided question. Would that be to give us enough time to review what budget will be, ask questions, make recommendations or anything, assuming budgets get finalized in October? Is that a pretty typical timeline? I'm assuming to go off calendar year.
Through the chair, the reason we've kept it in April is because our city budgets are going to be finalized at the beginning of the year. I believe by February, that's our deadline. So by then we should know the full budget of SPAC that's been approved. It will most likely be the same budget as last time, but we just have to wait until we get the final approval of all budgets in the city. And so since there's no meeting in March, we put that forward for April. The meeting schedule is bi-monthly or at the call of the chair. So if there's a request for that to be brought forward a month sooner, that's up to the chair and the committee members. However, the April schedule, the plan is to bring a report to SPAC, and similarly how we did last year. At that point is when the decisions will be made on how that money is used. So staff can kind of take that and run quickly to get the budget finalized and used up before the end of the year. So it usually is enough time in April to get the activities done before the end of the year.
Thank you.
So I would like to ask a question, but I don't know, do I have to pass it to Lee for me to ask? So from me to you? Okay. So question for staff, just some housekeeping things. I believe it was the summer meeting. Members here were concerned about the strategic plan, and they wanted to see if they could place or suggest ideas. If this is germane to this part, if not, then I will bring this up question at a different part. But essentially, I did send out an email to all members of the group that if there was something motion-wise, we wanted to have that for December's meeting, which is today. Does staff know if anybody just went through me directly to you on anything regarding the strategic planning, or is it too late now? Because this was supposed to be the meeting before you get the strategic plan past next meeting. Yeah,
Through the chair, I'm not aware of anything having come forward to staff for that. So if that's something that would like to be put on the agenda for a future meeting, we're happy to bring that forward. If you just advise us on what the topic is and what you would like to be brought forward, we can do that for the next meeting.
you all remember that, right? Like there were other members of the group who wanted to add things to the strategic
Yeah.
vision.
I wasn't here in August, but this was a conversation we also had previously as well, and it seems to be a conversation we have every meeting.
All right, so thank you, I appreciate that. So I guess there is another kick at the can then. Okay, so let the word go forth from this committee to all members that you know. If they've got something, an idea, bring it. We got one last shot at this, so there we go. All right, we have a mover and seconder. Do we go, and we have to, discussion, okay?
No.
Do we go to vote then? All in favor?
Is, maybe I've moved along in this package too far, I'm not sure, but the composition of the committee, is that part of this part? If we're not having a discussion, I don't know if I can move too far.
No, it is an attachment to, this report, however, it was basically the mandate that she was attaching. Did you want to change the composition?
I just wanted to ask a question about the
Oh,
composition,
okay.
really,
Yeah,
and I just
yeah.
wanted to ask if all of the different members that are listed in this composition are appointed and attending.
So, let me.
Actually, that was something I wanted to bring up as well, so it's good that we're talking about.
Because there's a list of like Laurier University and all of those different groups, and I just wanted to familiarize myself with whether we have members.
1 second to open this up here and I can tell you. Okay, so we do currently have one citizen position available, of which we received resignation this week.
Okay.
And the only other position we have available is a member of the Six Nations.
Which I've tried to get, so if you believe that there's an opportunity for you to speak to somebody, there's an opportunity.
Okay, but everybody else, we have members and
There's one that has not been attending, so.
Which we said we leave some time to, so is that time up? Or do we need one more meeting before we make a decision?
We probably could put a notice of motion on the next meeting to, deem her seat vacant.
Okay,
there's one citizen.
so one now and one.
Thank you.
Question about these positions, if we're seeking out a specific type of knowledge, how is this information communicated to the public that we are seeking representation from Six Nations, or we're seeking representation from the various schools? Like, how is that information relayed and how do we fill those positions?
So the clerk's department does communicate with those organizations, as well as any member of council or the chair can reach out to them as well. We do it on a pretty regular basis.
Okay.
If it's a citizen position that is available, it is posted on our website. We do, like you've done the application before, and then it goes to appointments, and yeah.
Okay, thank you.
And one thing, just based on my knowledge, is that I see many counselors bringing in their newsletters online, they bring the attention that opening positions in. So maybe we'll just have a nice full court press session and ask every counselor to, when they see an opportunity to mention public service, they should mention committees, boards, and task forces. So people might jump on that. Okay, so we'll take the vote again. So those in favor? Those opposed? Carries. All right, we have 3 consent items this evening. 5.1, the 2024 Climate Action Plan Annual Update. This is the financial impact of that. 2024 of 64. I'll ask staff to give a brief overview of this report.
Thank you, Chair. This is a consent item that's brought forward to you. This is one of the regular reports that we bring to the committee, sort of wrapping up the year's work that we've done, and indicating the different projects that were completed and the progress that we made on the community and corporate climate change action plans. So this was a report that was taken to City Council as well to inform them of the great work that city staff and the community have done to work towards reaching our targets. I'll leave it to Rebecca to go into greater detail, and then if there's any questions on the projects or anything in this annual update, we'll be happy to take questions after Rebecca gives the overview.
Thank you, Gavin. So through the chair, some of the main highlights from 2024 include achieving the 5th and final milestone of the Partners for Climate Protection program for both the corporate and community streams. This means that we have demonstrated that we have implemented actions from our climate action plans and have begun monitoring and reporting on the impacts of those actions. This year, we also hosted our 3rd annual Clean Brantford Community Litter Pickup event on April 21st and 22nd to celebrate Earth Day, and we had over 2,300 residents participate, which was a really great turnout. And then also throughout the past year, we've implemented 14 different action items as part of the corporate climate change action plan. Some of these actions included purchasing more electric vehicles, planting more trees and expanding our tree canopy, developing a fleet optimization strategy, implementing wastewater reduction programs, and conducting energy audits and building commissioning at both our water and wastewater treatment plants. We also began implementing 5 different action items for the community climate change action plan. And some of these included completing the transit optimization study, exploring a home energy retrofit program, and planting more trees by hosting the free tree giveaway events, which SPAC was also able to support in the fall. And then with those action items, we have been able to reduce our annual emissions by, I think, 146 tons of carbon dioxide equivalent, which is a great progress towards our goals. And if there are any questions, we'd be happy to answer them.
I just want to add to what Rebecca said about the reaching the 5th and final milestone of the PCP network. This was quite an exciting moment for us as a city because there are over 500 municipalities that are part of this network that are trying to achieve that 5th milestone. And Brantford was number 75 who made it to the 5th and final one for both the community and corporate. So I just wanted to shout that out. It was a really exciting achievement for us. And we're happy to take any questions.
Maybe. Well,
Thank you. So I did have a couple of questions. First, I wanted to just say, thank you to staff for all of the great work that's been done here. I'm really excited about all of what's happened so far. I did have a question though, and I'm wondering if there's some pieces maybe that are not highlighted here that are coming up that I'm not aware of that are going to really impact residents of the community to do more on their part, other than like the cleanup and things that have happened, to make changes to, I lost my train of thought. But anyways, basically, are we gonna do more for citizens? I know previously before I was on council, when I was first appointed, I went to an open house where we were talking about the action plan and the climate change and all of that kind of stuff. And it was mentioned the idea of maybe having a toolkit for citizens to kind of easily know little swaps and different tricks and things that they could do to have to help with the impact of climate change. And I'm just wondering if that's something that, if it's not already in the works, if that's something that maybe this committee could be working on together. But I'll let you answer my question now. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Through the chair to you, Councillor Samuel. Really happy you asked that question. We have been talking about this throughout different committee meetings, and if there's ways we can integrate SPAC more into helping on the communication side of things, building out that strategy to reach out to residents. On the city side of things, I can speak to some of the things that we do. So we do have a climate action webpage and social media, and the communication strategy that Rebecca worked very closely with our communications department on has been rolling out throughout the year, and that was actually an action item from the community climate action plan as well. It's been pretty well received. They're making regular posts about how to reduce your footprint, different things you can do in your home to make it more energy efficient, things like properly recycling and disposing of organic waste. So there's a ton of that that's going out on our socials and throughout our various platforms. And I know Rebecca has been talking about also doing lunch and learns at the library and different types of events that we can help to promote more at. If SPAC wanted to help with participating at those hosting lunch and learns, it would be amazing. That would be something we're very open to as staff, figuring out how SPAC can support with that. But on the community side of things, the communication campaign itself has been ongoing, and with regular events like the Earth Day litter pickup, that's one of our big moments to sort of shine and get the messaging out there, as well as Waste Reduction Month. We just started we brought a project to City Council about home energy retrofits, which is underway right now, figuring out how the city can support residents into retrofitting their homes to be more energy efficient. And with that, I know Rebecca has been working on communication strategies to roll that out to the public from the community perspective. So short answer, I guess, yes, we have been doing that, Councillor Samuel, and we're happy to take any suggestions. And if SPAC would like to attend anything or come out to events and support, we're happy to take that on and help in any way to facilitate that.
Thank you. I guess I'll keep an eye out for the social media stuff. I know social media can be a little bit funny sometimes with what shows up in your feeds, and it's not something I've seen so far, so I'm glad to hear that. And I look forward to myself and maybe whoever on this committee wants to help with the lunch and learns. I think that's great. Thank you.
Let's leave it, and then let's.
So this actually does tie in, through chair obviously, is, do we have an agreement with the high schools for their volunteer hours? Things like that? It is a question that's come to me a couple times actually from neighbors.
But that's,
Through the chair, I'm not sure. That's a question I'll have to take back to the city and how we do the volunteer hours, if that's a program that we have ongoing. We can reach out to our HR and our folks that manage volunteers and report back. I'm just not sure.
I can speak to that a little bit. Green Team is no longer connected to SPAC, but when Green Team was connected to SPAC, we facilitated like over 500 student hours, and we did a lot of presentations in school. Green Team still does that, but we're no longer connected to SPAC, so it doesn't answer the question now, but when Green Team was connected, that was something that was facilitated regularly, and maybe a referral option. Yeah, just to maybe add a bit more to that.
Yeah, no, because I know, like, I got 3 boys, they were all in the environmental committees in elementary school and the high school.
Yeah, there's not a lot of that.
Yeah.
David, Mike, anything? Yeah, I'm sorry. Go
I
ahead.
have my actual questions now.
Okay.
I also really like the idea of maybe putting together a toolkit. Social media is a great option, but potentially having something that can be provided to residents with multiple recommendations for home action. I think that's a good idea and is kind of hopefully a one-time task. I'm not sure how the committee could explore putting something like that together, but I do really like that idea, Mandy.
Through the chair, sorry, to you, we have our community climate change action plan, which has a lot of these recommendations in there. And our climate change officer is currently working on a toolkit already. So what we can do is maybe bring that forward to SPAC for comment and feedback at a future meeting to kind of finalize and see if there's anything else the committee would like to add, and then maybe add that to that piece and the promotion, printing, whatever it might be, as part of SPAC's budget for this year. That's something we can bring forward for sure.
And then back to you, Kevin.
Yeah, so just along that same track, I appreciate that it's already being worked on, but is it something that can be brought to this committee while it's still in process so that this committee can help shape what that looks like, even furthermore than just reviewing it after the fact? Like, I think it would be great to kind of start that conversation at this table, and then that way, they can kind of influence what Rebecca's working on, and we can have those conversations together as a group before it's finalized.
Through the chair,
That's,
to
I-
Counselor, yeah.
That's the usual process, but it would be something I would love to see, so I just thought I would ask it.
No, that's totally fine. We can put that on the agenda for the next SPAC meeting, and then we can kind of develop it at one of the next meetings. I think that would be fine.
Thank you so much, I love that idea.
Good.
Good.
Back to you.
Maybe this is an April conversation, a budget conversation, but the city used to have a community cleanup rental bin program where in addition to the Let's Clean Our City campaign that happens, residents could go to parks to actually rent out the community bin. Since COVID, that program has completely stopped, and I've followed up with park staff a few times about if that program's coming back, because I've had a ton of residents ask, what support does the city provide on a daily basis for folks who want to go into public spaces and clean up? Is there any way that as PAC could maybe push, on the community side to get that community bin cleanup going again? And again, maybe an April conversation when we talk about how to use our budget, but I just wanted to bring it up now while we were talking about community action.
Through the chair, absolutely. I can talk to our parks folks and kind of see where that program is at, and if there would be a cost associated, and we can bring that back.
Yep. David, Michael? Then Michael.
Thank you. I have a couple of comments. I think that community bin idea that you're mentioning might be something as well that could be promoted to the Neighborhood Alliance. And that might be something where, members of our group could, possibly do a bit of an info session with that group to kind of spread the word about some of these ideas that we've had about, promoting some of these programs, right? Like the tree giveaways, and I know that they've been involved in the past with the Tree Coalition. But I'm just sort of thinking that, it might be good to promote some of these, initiatives that the city has been doing, and just get the word out, because they've got a wider volunteer network. So that might be a way to kind of promote some of this stuff. So if that's of interest, I could reach out to some contacts through that group and just mention that our group might be interested in mentioning some of these programs that are underway. So just kind of a thought. On I guess a side note, I noticed a number of the programs, with the audits are about to start for like water and wastewater and the water treatment plant. Are those intended to, improve the infrastructure, or is it just, monitoring what is there like as a baseline? Like, is it looking to implement new infrastructure, or is it, just a check-in on the rates?
Yeah, through you, Chair, to David. The audit is more so of the facility and the functioning and the different equipment that we have at all of the treatment plants right now. So it's really getting an audit and a picture of how efficient they're running, how much energy is being used, and providing us with recommendations for what we can do to improve the energy use at those facilities. So it's a little bit of both.
Okay. Yeah. And that's like a long-term thing, or is it just like a point in time this year? Like, is that going to be going forward like as a program, or is it just like a single study?
Through the chair, it's right now a point in time single study to find out at this time how we're functioning, and it is going to give us a roadmap of recommendations for decreasing emissions over time in the longer term. And then we can always do energy audits throughout the year as a continuing program, not every year, but we can do them frequently to assess the state of our energy management there. But I know Rebecca was managing these projects and she unmuted, so I'll leave it to her to answer. in more
Yes,
detail.
through the chair, we do regular energy monitoring for these facilities through the utility bills. So as these projects are being implemented, we will be regularly monitoring the energy consumption to see the success of the projects.
And I guess just find a follow-up on that. I'm just sort of interested in how we can get that from a not quantified part of the table to a quantifiable item going forward. Just I know some of those systems are can be bigger emitters, like they're if you're addressing some of those changes at the system level, like you could see a lot of improvement. So it would be great to see some quantities developed in the future. So just I guess that's my only comment there. Thanks.
Before we Mike, anything for you?
Just one thought. When we're doing these communications, have we thought about sending flyers to the schools to have the children bring home? This way they can actually read the flyers too, and we can actually spark interest in the children when they're younger. And then the flyers still make their way back to the homes.
Through the chair, that's not something we've done, but we absolutely can bring that forward as a future initiative as part of our communication strategy.
Yeah, I just think we need to get to them early so that they don't develop the complacent habits that a lot of people have developed. So spark interest.
Yeah.
That's it.
So I just have two comments actually, and I had one and then I got another one after Councilor Sullivan gave me an idea. But I just wanted to follow up on what David said, and I agree that I think it's a great idea. I know a lot of the neighborhood associations already were borrowing that kit before, so I think that's great that Taylor mentioned making sure that that comes back. But I think it'd be nice to actually make sure that we're promoting that even broader than just the neighborhood alliance of Brantford, but to the whole city, so that like I realize they have a lot of reach, of course, at the neighborhood associations, as most people would know that my background is through there, but I think that it's also important that outside of that, we're doing a lot of promotion for those kits and things, so people know that if they want to do something great, like clean up their park or whatever, that is something they can do, and that will help with that, right? And then my other thought with what Councilor Sullivan was saying is, and some of the other conversation tonight is just that on top of the flyers through schools, and that's a great idea, but I think that maybe there's an opportunity for the city and SPAC to go together and do some presentations at the schools and actually really spark some interest that way as well. So just wanted to mention that as well. Thank you.
Ready? Staff, and then if not, then I have a question. That you asked the question.
I didn't ask the
You didn't
question.
ask
It was a comment.
Oh, it was a
It
comment, okay. So then I have a question then. So from me, through me to you. When I was a new member here many years ago, representing business, I asked the question so now for the new year, for the strategic vision or the way we govern. A lot of the time, the city of Brantford will have a booth at an event. Not only let's say like a fair or Rib Fest or whatever it is, but they'll have it at some sort of business thing like the MPP's dinner or breakfast or whatever it may be, or whatever there. Is there a way to find a home for SPAC to be invited to some of those booths when it's germane? So like right now, as a business leader, I know that sustainability is a big issue. There's a lot of stuff coming down the pipe from Environment Canada, climate change and other stuff that's going to demand and there's a big change and Michael could talk about this because he mentioned it last year. There's a big change to the Blue Box program in regards to companies, and there's a lot of companies that manufacture in town. So is there a way that we can look at SPAC either having their literature distributed in various City of Brantford tents and tables when they're out there, and in some cases when not a Canada Day, not a Simcoe Day weekend, but let's say when there's a big meeting somewhere, like let's say Bulldogs, and you have a booth that we have a flavor of SPAC advertised there. Thank you. And then next.
I just want to tag on what Andy said. In 2023, part of the SPAC budget was directed towards event materials to be able to do things like that. And I don't think we've had an update on what was spent and what materials we have available to do things like that. So I wanted to just tag my question onto the end of yours as well.
Thank you to the staff.
Sure. Through you, to the chair. Okay, couple parts of that question. So we did, I believe, bring a report forward that talked about how we use the budget and the items that we had purchased with that budget, but I'm happy to provide that again and recirculate that to the committee. Basically, we were directed to buy a few promotional items. So we did create the logo for Brantford Climate Action, and we bought the table runner as well as the backdrop. So there are a couple of things that can be used at these events if SPAC so wishes. In addition to that same 2013 timeline, we brought a report forward to SPAC with a list of events that they could potentially choose to go to promote these kinds of activities. My recollection is that the committee at that time didn't choose to go to any of these events. And I don't think that would be done through this process of coming to a committee, but maybe the clerk can remind me of the process of how SPAC would choose to go to these events, because I do believe it does have to be decided on as a committee, but maybe the clerk can remind me of how they would go about doing that.
Again, I'm actually not sure. That would be something that I would have to bring back as well, or I can like circulate an email after, because we don't actually have the list of events before us right now. So it would be something that I could provide later.
However, if the committee does want us to bring that report again, we can do another roundup of the events coming this year and provide that at the next meeting.
Last one. And the remaining budget as well, that'd be nice, thank you.
Yep.
From me to you for a follow-up question. Just so I know if it's not a conflict of interest, when we talk about social clubs, community clubs, both like business related, like Rotary and Kinsmen and Knights of Columbus and Lions, and then youth organizations, club like Navy Cadets, Army Cadets, Air Cadets, every single group in this town has something to do with an environmental committee outside of the high schools. So would this be something that has to come through SPAC, or would this be through Maria Versace, through community, through community, like public media and public relations, or because like I said, I think they're like the Rotary just completed last year a tree planting thing with Mr. Beach over at Grand River Conservation Authority. So there were two groups putting trees out there. As well as us as well, and as well as the city, right? So I think we're all treed out. So the question is there a way to involve them without this being a conflict? Through to you.
Yeah, through you, Chair, to you. I would have to bring that back. I'm not too sure on the procedure, and I know SPAC is a committee, but it is a committee of the city, so I'm not too sure if it would have to go through communications or if it would be an independent activity of the committee. So what we can do is take this back, get that information back from our communications and our clerk's department, and prepare a report for the next committee meeting with the list of the events, the breakdown of what the budget was used on and the promotional materials that are available, as well as the process by which SPAC can get involved at other events or with other local groups in the city.
So I'll advise everybody, if there's any extra questions, things that you want, send them on to me and then I'll pass them on forward and have them ready for the next meeting. I just realized that we let them speak, but then we did not go to motion. So can I please have a mover and seconder so we can actually have discussion, which we've already had. So can I have a mover and seconder? Taylor and Lee? No? Okay. Good. Spread the love around. There we go. That's it. All right. So that the report 2024-63, 2024 Climate Change Action Plan update be received. We've had discussion. I guess we go to vote now. So all in favor? All opposed? That looks like it carried. Okay, so now we go to the next point, 5.2, the 2025 meeting schedule. Before we do anything, can I please have a mover and seconder for this? Okay, so Mandy moves. Taylor seconds. Any discussion on the meeting schedule for the next year? Is that something staff wants to talk about, or just us? Okay, you've seen the dates, is there any conflicts, anything? No, okay, so, let's, if those in favor, let's, they didn't vote, so all those in favor? Okay, opposed? Okay, carries. And lastly, the minutes of 5.3, Environmental Sustainability Policy Advisory Committee from August 15th of 2024. May I have a mover and seconder? Lee?
No. I wasn't here.
Need a-
Oh, it doesn't matter, I'll second that.
All right, any discussion, errors or remissions? I know we just briefly talked about people's thoughts on that at that time, but
I did have one question comment on
Yes.
it, was item 4.1B.
Okay.
I can't remember the gentleman's name, but I believe he was going to add in what we discussed in 1, 2, and 3. And they're blank. What was added.
is that the gentleman from Laurier?
No,
There's one.
yeah.
There were, if I believe correctly, there were no additional changes to the suggested mandate, which is down at the bottom. It was moved as an amendment. So the changes that were in there, so then,
Because I do remember lengthy discussion.
yes,
about what
there
should
was
be
a
added.
lengthy discussion, but there was actually no additional suggestions. It was what was suggested within the report. But I will double check the reporting, always double check the reporting, but I'm sure that's what transpired.
Are our meetings posted to YouTube with the rest, so the SPAC ones are, so maybe we could always go and look back, because I wasn't here at that meeting either.
So if there's a question of concern, should we table it until we can see
So
it?
you can still carry it.
We can and then overturn it later?
Yeah.
Okay, very good. All right, so with that said, all those in favor? Okay, all opposed? Okay, carries. All right, there are no resolutions. There are no resolutions or notice of motion. Before we adjourn, just quickly, public service announcement for all of us here. Something's happened to me over the last few months, so it's important that we have a thriving, growing core of people coming to committees and boards and whatever. So please double check with the clerks if your time is up, because evidently I went to apply for chair, I got the chair, and then I found out that I was no longer eligible to be on the board. So I had to reapply. So continuity is a great thing. We want everybody to be happy and not be surprised. So can they contact you guys directly? And just find out if your time is up, if not, re-up if you want to or not.
Through the chair, no one's time will be up until November of next year, as it is. We've just gone through that process and it is a 4-year term, yeah.
Is there a current method of notification and tracking?
Yes, clerk's department tracks it and we let you know when the term is up and we will let you know that your term is up and if you're still interested to reapply, yes.
It was just a surprise to me because it was very sudden. Okay, so that's for secondly, we do have an opening, so let's go out there, let's try to find people. There'll be another one coming soon. Yes.
What is the process when people do apply through committees? It usually goes through council. Is SPAC ever involved in the selection of committee members, or is that there's a specific committee for that? Because I just wonder, because I have heard from folks who have applied and just have never heard back, and sometimes they've never received feedback on why they weren't selected, or if there were certain issues with the information they provided. And I'm just curious what that process looks like on the back end, because I would hate to go out and recruit somebody or recruit multiple people just for them to turn around and say, what the heck,
Yeah.
So what's the process?
So yeah, once their resume is received, then we have an appointments committee meeting, which will be done in camera with all of council. They go through all of the applications and then deliberate, and then they'll do a vote on the members that are being appointed. After it's gone through council, then we do let everyone that has applied yes or no. You're right, there is no feedback on the no replies, but my suggestion would be that they get in contact with their ward counselor, that maybe they could provide some good feedback. It is in camera, but that might help or steer them in the right way to get some more experience or beef up their resume, whatever it may be. But yeah,
That's just clarity, that I can provide that information when
Yeah.
people are asking.
of course, yeah.
All right, this is the part of the show where I'll let you guys, if there's any new business or anything you want to add or talk about at all? No? All right, then before I adjourn, I want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas and Happy New Year and Happy Holidays to everybody. It's been a great year with you, and I look forward in 2025. So with that, do we need to make a motion to adjourn, or can I just adjourn it? We are adjourned.
Merry Christmas, everyone.